Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Joe. Welcome back to the 39th recap episode for the last 5 games. You can see over here on the left, we got Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego, Taz-Mania, Super Black Bass, Shadowrun, and Super Turrican. So we're going to start right off. Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego. Now, if you watch the cartoon or the old game show on TV, you probably remember Carmen Sandiego. Well, actually, they just had a new Netflix cartoon series come out. I don't know if it was any good or that it, gained much in the way of popularity, but I guess today's kids might know about Carmen Sandiego, but our generation certainly did. It was a point-and-click game for the PCs primarily, but they copied it over to the Super Nintendo, and it worked absolutely well. The graphics, as you can see, are pretty bare bones, honestly. I mean, it's a GUI. You're essentially looking at, I guess, what they thought a tablet computer might look like at that point. And you're going to different cities around the world and time in this particular game, finding clues to catch Carmen Sandiego's henchmen, and then eventually Carmen Sandiego. The music was fine. The sound was okay. It's a very basic game. It's not bad by any stretch, but I don't know that it would be worth going out and looking up today. So I did end up giving Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego a thumbs down. It's just, I don't think it necessarily holds up today. I think you could redo it in a more modern, in a more modern way, and it might be all right. So there is that. I just, it's not particularly engaging to me today. But that's okay. Next up is Taz-Mania, another Looney Tunes inspired game by Sunsoft, who brought us Roadrunner's Death Valley Rally, which was inevitably a bad game, but I hate to say it, it was better than this. This is a rail racing game, basically. You're running down this street as a Tasmanian devil, attempting to eat the little yellow birds that you saw right there. You have to eat a certain number of them each level to finish that level, and you get run over a lot and slam into trees. The one thing the Tasmanian Devil was known for was spinning in a tornado, and this game punishes you for doing that. Like, you hit a tree or a truck, it's very difficult to control. You fly left and right on the road. The music and sound were fine. The gameplay was just boring as sin. This was not a good game. It would not be recommended. I would pass on this heartily if I saw it in the store. So a definite thumbs down on this one. Next up, Super Black Bass. Now, I remember this game fondly as a kid, playing it with my dad. We would take turns trying to catch the biggest fish. And I played this game for an hour, and I think I only caught 3 fish. Now, that might just be bad luck. Or maybe I was just remembering this game with really rose-tinted glasses. Graphically speaking, the game isn't terrible. The sound is okay, but the problem is there's no music. And I get that fishing is a silent sport generally. Like, you go out on a boat, you don't usually listen to music, but this game really suffered for the lack of something to listen to. And it did have music, but only when you were in your boat driving around. As soon as you got to the fishing stage, like where I'm at right here, no music at all. The controls are intuitive. You really need the instruction manual so that you can see what different types of lures do. But there you saw me. We've hooked a fish, and he's fighting us as we try to reel him in. Just graphically, the game doesn't look bad. It moves very, very slowly. I mean, it's not real time, but when it says you have 7 hours in your fishing tournament, you really absolutely probably have a couple of hours real time to catch your fish. Because I played it for an hour, and I think only like 2, maybe 3 hours passed in game. So it's a very slow game. And there's nothing wrong with that if your goal is just to sit down and relax. I got no problem with it, obviously. But again, in the end, it's not particularly exciting or interesting or fun in that way. So this was yet another thumbs down. Next, Shadowrun. This is a isometric viewed RPG based off the tabletop system of Shadowrun, which is a cyber futuristic magic technology mishmash genre game. I think what they did in this game was really well done considering the time that they did it in the 90s on a Super Nintendo. it isn't as open-ended, obviously, as a tabletop RPG would be. You don't have a DM that you can just, bank out and go crazy with. This one has a set storyline. The graphics, I think, were okay. The music and sound were fine. The biggest problem with this was gameplay control. So it doesn't really telegraph what the hell you're supposed to do. So you literally are just left to wander, trying to figure out where to go, what to do, how to do things. And it's just, I can't imagine the amount of time you would have to invest into this game to figure it out. My problem with RPGs in general for the Super Nintendo system is the amount of time it takes to do anything constructive because of grinding. This game does have some grinding you have to do in it. I'm not sure how much you would have to do, but it's definitely got grinding in there. Now, the other problem was with the controls. Walking is fine. The problem is when you click your action button or your aim button for your gun, it puts a cursor on screen, and then you, of course, have to move that cursor with the D-pad. Had this had mouse support, it probably would have been fine. It doesn't have mouse support, though, and that's a problem. So it's really kind of difficult to get that fine motor control with your cursors. Is that a thing that kills the game? Probably not. What kills the game for me is that it's super long. Or maybe it's not super long. I don't know. Because I wasn't going to invest the time to try and figure out what the hell to do in it. Now, obviously, you could look up a walkthrough and solve that problem for yourself. But I'm going at it from the perspective of not using a walkthrough. It's not a bad game. I said that a lot over the last set. It's not a bad game. It could be better. I'm going to go ahead and thumbs down it. I didn't care. I don't tend to care for RPGs on this system. It's not my game style. So take that for what you want. I think if you like Shadowrun, if you like that world, if you like the tabletop RPG, you'd probably like this game. But it just wasn't for me. The control combined with the grinding, plus the fact that it just doesn't tell you what to do at all. Like, a little guidance would be great, but you literally wake up as a dude with amnesia. So, yeah. Thumbs down for Shadowrun. I like Shadowrun, the tabletop RPG, so it kind of sucked. I was hoping for a little bit better than this. And I think it's, like I said, it's the control and the lack of guidance. So, and then next up, finally, Super Turrican. This is a run-and-gun platformer, much in the line of Contra. The Turrican family of games is a series. There's a lot of games in it. This, I think, was like the third or maybe fourth one. You can see it's very reminiscent of Contra to me. I don't think the graphics are as crisp or nice looking as Contra is. But same style of game. It was enjoyable. At the very beginning of the game, man, you get your weapons and you're like, wow, these weapons are super powerful. And that's cool. I kind of enjoy a game that's like overpowers you at the beginning. But then by the end of the game, man, that difficulty ramps way up. And no amount of super weapons is getting you through that bad boy. It's repetition and continuing and just memorizing parts of the levels and just getting a little lucky. I did beat the game, played it to conclusion. The last 3 levels, one of them is very, very maze-like. And there's facehugger aliens that if they get on you are very difficult to get off. And they just sap your energy very, very quickly and you die. So the game is definitely a harder game. It's not super duper long. I use save states. I beat it in an hour and a half roughly. Without save states, that probably would have taken me days. but that's, what it is. If you're looking for a run and gun, this one's a solid choice. It is single player only. I gave it a thumbs up. I did like Super Turrican. I enjoyed it enough to play it for 2 days and to beat it. But I would prefer Contra just for the 2-player co-op. But Super Turrican, definitely a good game. Definitely worth a thumbs up. I don't know that, again, I said I would pick Contra over it, and I say that because, most of these games I think of in the perspective of if I saw this in the wild, would I pick it up? And Turrican is one that roughly the same price level as Contra on eBay, so I would go Contra over Turrican. That's a personal preference choice, it is what it is. But a solid game nonetheless, definitely worth playing if you have the opportunity. And that's it for those 5 games. So I appreciate everybody who joined me over the last 5 games. Thank you all very much. And starting Well, this is our 39th recap, so starting with the next game on our queue will be the 40th set of 5 games. And then after that, we'll be taking a short break and to get ready for the next, God knows how many. But that's it. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. Have a good night, y'all.